Central Regional because over the weekend the people of Winneba celebrated the Aboakyer Festival, crowning it with a hunt of a deer by two Asafo groups. Jacqueline and Somayeboa has a wrap of events.
The Aboakyer Festival is celebrated annually every first week of the month of May with several activities. The Friday preceding the hunt is spectacular for Aboakyer. Two groups, Tiafo and Dentifo, parade the town with their gods along selected routes in turns to prevent clashes. The Asafo groups disperse at the end of the day to prepare for the actual hunt the following day. The Asafohene of the Dentifo group, Theophilus Kojoham, reveals his group's preparedness for the hunt on Saturday.
By God's grace, we are done with the carrying of God, which is simply to purify the town and the people as well. What happens tomorrow is the day that we are going to the bush and make sure we come down or we come out successfully with a deer. So that is what we are waiting for. Tomorrow, the Tiafo as a company will leave earlier around 5:30, and then we, the Dentifo as a company number 2, will leave around 6 o'clock.
It's Saturday, the day of the official hunt. The young and able set off into the forest to hunt for the deer. When a catch is made, a message is sent to the people in town, sparkling jubilations. More people troop into the Deba grounds for a glimpse of the catch. However, this customary practice has long been shelved because sometimes the date could fall on or soon after the Christian Easter celebrations, resulting in difficulties and inconveniences for some of the would-be festival attendants. It is one of the most prominent festivals which is celebrated with much zest and panache in the Efuti community. Jacqueline and Somayeboa's report for Joy News.
Well, let's speak to Ernestina Adomia-Enye, who's the Public Relations Manager for the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission. Thank you, Ernestina, for your time. I'm just wondering what's been the involvement of your division in the festivals that involve the killing of animals in the wild.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, and good evening to your listeners. Yes, with the Aboakyer Festival, the Wildlife Division collaborates with them to have this celebration. And it is in line with the LI 710. Even though the LI 710 does not allow hunting and capturing in our protected areas, we actually collaborate with them. We actually collaborate with them to have this festival because wildlife is not just for protection. It's not just for conservation. We also manage the resources. And you know, with wildlife, before we went in to manage the resources were being managed by the community themselves. So the Winneba people have the sacred grove, which is part of our Ramsar site and a protected area that we also protect for their use. That is protecting their culture and heritage. So with wildlife, we don't just conserve the animals, we also look at the sustainable use of these resources. So when it gets to the time for this festival or the celebration to happen, we collaborate with the people. And before then, they even write a letter to us as Wildlife Division for permission. And with the LI 710, that is the Wildlife Reserve Regulation, it is allowed that if any community or if anybody has a special use of the resources, you write to the executive director, and with his consent, you can have permission to do so.
I see.
So we are protecting these resources for socio-economic benefit.
I see. And in this specific
socio-economic benefit.
Yeah, and in this specific case of the festival, what role do you play exactly in the hunting of these animals to ensure that, well, they're done in a sustainable manner, if we can term it that way?
Yes, we do monitor them during this period. For them to go for these animals, some of our guides are to be with them to ensure that whatever animal they are going for is what they went for. Actually, the animal is in a protected area, in a Ramsar site. Okay, so the Ramsar site manager ensures that they go in with them to ensure that they take the animal, like what they are, the bushback that they need for that festival, and that's it. So every time you arrive for such special use of these resources, we monitor you by going with you and ensuring that you pick what you actually said you were going to pick. And it has to be by permission from the executive director. So if the executive director agrees, is when we also allow people to go in and pick the resources or extract these resources.
What do you have to say about the status of the biodiversity point, the sacred grove as you describe it, within the area?
Yes, the sacred grove is managed by the park manager, the traditional council, and the district assembly. And there are a lot of problems going on there, or there are a lot of challenges that they have. Some of them are the cattle rearers actually taking their cattle into the reserve and then making them graze. The other part is hunters also trying to light fire to hunt some of these animals. They also have people cutting trees for firewood, for the fishmongers cutting trees for firewood. So all these things are being controlled by these three stakeholders. That is the park manager of the Ramsar site, the traditional council, and the district assembly. So the park manager of the resource ensures that they monitor the resources. The law enforcement officer always go in and patrol to ensure that these people are not causing harm to the protected area or taking a lot of, extracting a lot of these resources. So they ensure that by patrolling inside the forest every day. But you know, sometimes as soon as you move away from the resources, then somebody also enter, like a cattle rearer will enter with his cattle to graze, or some hunters will find a way of entering into the reserve. So we do monitor every time. We ensure that the resources are protected and conserved. But once in a while, people get chance or their way to enter the reserve.
All right then, I see. And I'm sure that you're taking steps to prevent or restore the area. I'm grateful for your time here on the podcast.